3, 2, 1, and we're live. Welcome everyone to Face the Camera. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you're here. And today, we are talking about how to be inspiring, how to make an inspiring video, how to make a video that actually will inspire the people who are watching to take some sort of action, to join your movement, to join you in the quest that you're on. And my point here is that when you go to get in front of the camera, like I'm in front of the camera right now, and you are live streaming, like I'm live streaming right now, you need to bring something to the table that is not simply showing up. It's not simply teaching what you're here to teach. It's not simply sharing the information that you have in your head. It's going beyond that. It's making really clear the mission that you're on. You're making really clear the reason why you're doing the thing you're doing. Making it really clear why the video, the message, the work that you're doing, the mission that you're on matters, and matters to the people who are watching you. And so the first part of all of this is, in fact, to get super clear on the answer to that question. Why should this matter? Why should this matter to you? You know, and like to go a little meta here for just one moment. Why should this matter? Like, why should you care about being inspiring when you are going online and you are making a video and you're trying to share some information with the general public or to your audience or to the people who you want to connect with? You know, why should this matter to you? And the obvious thing is that if you don't do this right, if you don't actually inspire people with your message, you're not going to get their attention. They're not going to take the time to listen to you. Or even if they decide to listen, if they're not inspired, if they don't actually feel like, oh my gosh, now I've got this thing to do, and then they are committed to taking action, then you've lost them. And of course, you know, we've all had the experience of watching things like a TED Talk. Now, TED is famous for their mission, which is ideas worth spreading. And that's a great, great mission. And all of the videos that they have certainly have great ideas that are worth sharing. However, they don't always have a clear call to action, and you're not always engaged and involved in watching that video so that afterwards you've got a clear path to say, okay, now I'm going to go do something. In fact, I think I've watched, I don't know, maybe 100 TED Talks, and I don't think any one of them has ever inspired me to go and do anything. And, if that's true for you, just think about it for a minute. And if you've watched TED Talks, say, yeah, I love TED down below. And if you've ever taken an action on a TED Talk, like listened to a TED Talk and then gone and done something, I'd love to hear what you did. And if you've never actually done anything as a result, it's okay. You don't have to admit that publicly, but I think that's true for a lot of people. So this is a big, big deal. And I'm going to apply this to the marketing world, making videos, doing content marketing, doing digital marketing. This is all marketing. Like, we are now trying to come to the marketplace and we are trying to make clear a certain kind of message that will move people to take action. And of course, if you're in business or if you're supporting a cause, you want people to buy in or to literally buy the thing that you have to offer. And that's the movement that you want to create for the people who are watching you, right? So in the conventional way of looking at things, we talk a lot about, marketers talk a lot about building a funnel. And the sad truth that I'm going to say is that the funnel world is broken. It's broken. The traditional way of looking at how do you create a funnel, it's really not working very well anymore. Now, I know that you hear like lots of success stories from companies like ClickFunnels, whose whole business is around how do you build a funnel. And yes, there are some people who are champions and they do have successful funnels and they do generate a lot of revenue to create that funnel. But the overhead and the expense and the amount of effort and work that it takes to get to that level is actually beyond most of the people like us who are solopreneurs, who are freelancers, who are running a relatively small business. You know, maybe you're making 6 figures, maybe you're making, you know, multiple 6 figures, but that doesn't mean that you have the resources to invest, you know, $500,000 into a marketing campaign and a funnel building campaign. Like, that's a very expensive and very risky proposition. And the problem that I see with traditional funnels, and the way these funnels are described, is as follows. You have this funnel-shaped this funnel-shaped diagram, and at the top of the funnel are total strangers, people who don't know anything about you. And then as the funnel gets narrower and closer to you, people are becoming increasingly aware. And then now they're not only aware, but they're now interested in what you have to say. And now you have followers who are coming back and listening and reading and tuning into your messaging. And then you have people who go from that realm, sort of the casual people who are tuning in, to people who've actually bought something from you and now they've become a customer or they've become a client. And then from there you move them on down into the funnel of not only being a customer or a client, but being somebody who has loyalty to your brand. And then the sort of the pinnacle is now they become a brand evangelist and they go out into the world and they start telling other people about you. And that's the typical funnel. And the way marketers use their funnel is that they spend a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of money talking to the people at the very top, basically the strangers. And so, you know, because in the middle the funnel may not be working very well, they use this, you know, basically brute force and a lot of disruptive, interruptive marketing. And I know you've seen the ads. You've seen this kind of advertising in sponsored ads on Facebook and the little ads that show up in front of your video that you want to watch on YouTube, and all this kind of disruption. And that disruption is going in front of people who basically are strangers that have never heard of or are very not very aware of the people who are doing that marketing. And that kind of cold delivery, that kind of cold messaging really just doesn't do very well, because all of us are basically inundated with so much noise and so much that kind of commercial messaging coming at us every day, you know, in our inbox and all over the internet. And if we watch television, it's there. If we go out into the world, it's all over the place. So this is what marketing is being sort of imposed upon us, and we're resistant to it, very resistant to it. So what I'm going to suggest, and this again is going back to how do you be inspiring? Like, how can you inspire people? How can you really do this? Well, I think the target needs to shift. And when you look at anything that looks like a funnel, I think you need to look at, well, who's in my inner circle? And who are the people who are currently engaged with me and my brand and my message? And this doesn't need to be a very large group. This just needs to be the people who are coming in and tuning in and paying attention to what you're doing. So right now, when you're on a live video, people will show up and they'll join you. So I've got people joining me now. I'm just checking in the comments. And so if you're here, show me that you're here by saying, just say hello so that I can see your name appear in the comments down below. Because you're the ones who are watching and you're the ones who are tuning in right at this very moment. And of course, when you go live, you also want to be speaking to the people who will watch your video during the replay, because actually more people will watch the replay than will watch the live video. And that's true every single time. But the point I want to make is that this group, the people who you are speaking to on a regular basis, this is the group that you want to engage. This is the group that you want to speak to in a way that matters to them, in a way that is inspiring to them. This is the thing. And so if this group, the group that is already aware of your thing, maybe it's the group that's already your current customers and clients, and you're talking with them on a regular basis, and you're inspiring them to take action, and you're inspiring them with your message and your mission so that they're joining you on this path, well, then you start winning the game. And they, by their inspiration, by the movement that they're doing, by the actions that they're taking, they will bring their friends along. And so if you make a video and you have that video seen by 100 people, we'll keep this very small and very manageable. So if you make a video, everyone, like everyone out there, has the capability of making a video and having it be seen by 100 people, and having it be seen by the 100 people who they are already associated with. This is not strangers. This is not people who have never heard of you. These are your friends that you have on Facebook. It's the people who follow you on Instagram. It's the people who you're connected with on LinkedIn. Now, anyone has the capability of making a video that will be seen by 100 of that network of people who already know you. And if you make that video and you inspire the people who watch the video to join you in the mission that you're on, in the thing that you believe in most strongly, and they start saying, yes, I believe what you believe. I'm with this. Like, this is important. This matters. This matters to all of us. And you make them feel like they belong to the movement that you're part of, well, they'll get excited. They'll start taking action, and they'll bring their friends. And so basically, they're going to do your marketing for you. And this is where, like, this is a whole different kind of approach to anything that looks like funnel building. This is excitement creation. And this is how people will basically help you grow your connections to new people, because the friends of your friends, the friends of your followers, the friends of the people who are your clients, those are the people most likely to want to come and join your movement, who want to come and believe in the thing that you believe in, who want to be part of this thing that you're creating, who want to solve the problem that your business is here to solve and your mission is here to address. All of that is probably, one of the most important things that you can do. Hey, Joseph, great to see you. Join the mission. So for instance, like the mission that I'm on, and I'll just sort of make this really big and clear. If you look at a company, just as an example, you look at a company like Nike. Now the question is, what's the mission that Nike is on? What's the mission that if you buy into Nike that you believe in? And this is my impression, is that Nike, with their slogan, just do it, what they are doing is they are believing in the inner athlete of every single person on the planet. They're here to inspire your inner athlete. And they do it brilliantly in all the things that they do. Any kind of marketing message that Nike has ever done, it's all showing a story of somebody who's overcoming, some challenge in an athletic way and triumphing, like doing something really cool. And when you see that, you're drawn in and saying, they could do it, I could do it. If they can do it, I can do it. And so, instead of coming to the marketplace and saying, hey, guess what? We make the best shoe ever, or even saying, if you wear our shoes, you'll run faster. They don't say that. They inspire you to be the best athlete you can be, to bring your inner athlete out. Even for us who may not feel like athletes, they inspire us to take athletic action. So that's Nike, and that's just an example of a brand doing a really good job of using their messaging as inspiration. And if you've ever watched a Nike video, you felt that same inspiration. It's contagious. So in my case, I'm inspiring the inner greatest showman in everybody. Like, I believe every single person, every single entrepreneur, every single person in business, every single person who is behind, a movement or a cause, you have a powerful message and you have a powerful story to tell. So this inner storyteller, this inner creative person that you are, and you have the capability of being inspiring and literally putting on a show, like put on a good show. Like, I was at this talk, this woman named Rita Davenport was giving this brilliant talk. She's really funny and amusing, very creative, very motivational. But at the end, she said this one thing that really resonated with me, which was, God is watching, so put on a good show. And I just went, oh my gosh, you got me. I mean, this is it. Like, we're here to show up for the people who we want to serve. And we all have these, various devices, iPads, iPhones, my laptop, cameras, we all have equipment carrying around in our pocket with a connection to the internet that allows us to show up. And when I was a little kid, I remember this really clearly. When I was a little kid, in the house where I lived, we had an attic. And up in the attic, there was a trunk, a big trunk, and it was full of old clothes that belonged to my parents. And I don't know, it was a really weird, odd, motley collection of old clothing that my parents didn't want anymore, and they put it in this trunk. And my sister and myself and a lot of other neighborhood kids would go up into the attic, and we'd pull out all these clothes, and we would dress up in various ways. These clothes were like costumes. And the energy was like, let's put on a show. And so we would create characters, and we would create little stories, and we would create a play. And then we would, with our costumes, go downstairs, and insist that the parents and the adults who were downstairs would come and watch our show. And during that time, there was no fear, there was no anxiety, there was no stage fright about this idea of putting on a show. And when I see people coming in front of the camera and they're feeling camera shy and they're feeling intimidated and they're feeling like, I don't know if anybody's going to watch this or like it or anything like that, I really think, back to that time in that moment and say, well, come to this place of speaking to people with this kind of energy of just put on a show, put on something that's going to be fun and entertaining and energetic. And you can show up as whatever persona or character you want to be and enjoy it. And to the point of what I'm talking about today, do it in a way that inspires people. Do it in a way that they feel like what you're talking about really matters to them. So, that's really interesting. So that's my big introduction today. So I talked about the funnel thing and the 100 people. And here's just a couple of points that I want to make. And I'm looking at my notes. Here's my iPad. And this is just a tip. When you're going live, you can bring something like an iPad. I use Evernote. And I just write my notes. It's not a script, but I just write the most salient things that I want to be, remembering that I'm going to talk about and share with you guys. And it's all here, so I don't have to remember it, and I can actually be really transparent about, oh, by the way, I need to check my notes. So I can tell you what I'm going to say next. And so what I want to talk about here are just 3 more points about how to do this, like how to bring yourself to making a video that's going to inspire. And of course, this is true if you're making a podcast, or if you're making a blog post, or if you're making a public talk. These are all ways that these 3 techniques are things that you're going to want to do to inspire and engage your audience. And these principles are especially valuable when you're doing this, when you're going live, because this wants to be a conversation. This wants to be an engagement. So when you guys are here and you're actually watching me, I want to hear from you. I literally want to know what does matter to you. So for example, if I was going into a series of, how to do this kind of thing, I would want to hear from you, like, what's the next video you would like me to make? And if you have an idea for that, go ahead and say so. What would be something that you would love to hear from me? What would you like, a subject that you'd love to have me explore? And so next Thursday, which is my next video, I can put that on the list and I can start exploring that and invite you back to share in that conversation. Even further, I can do things like in this tool that I'm using right now, I'm using something called StreamYard. Any one of you I could invite to come on. So I could say, hey, you want to come on? Just say in the comments, yes, I'm ready. And then what I'll do is I'll send you a link, and you just click on that link and then you can join this broadcast. It's kind of amazing. This is a great tool. And in the future, I'm going to advertise that I'll be doing that kind of sort of Q&A or a hot seat where I'll bring somebody in and then we'll workshop something together around work that you're doing or messaging that you have or anything like that. Or you can show me your studio setup and I can give you ideas on how to make it better. All of that kind of thing is possible. And I would love to do more and more of that. So these are things to stay tuned for. But the 3 things that I want to emphasize around how to be inspiring, one of them I've already touched on, which is that you need to say something that matters. You need to have a message that your audience is going to care about. And you need to tell a story that will be relatable to them. So instead of being the guru or the expert or the person who knows all the answers to everything, if you tell a story, it could be a story about a client, it could be your own story, it could be a story about some other business or some other person who faced the same kind of problem and issues and challenges that many people in your audience are facing, and you tell that story and people see that, oh, this person was in the same position that I'm currently in right now, and then they hear what happened. They hear how this person met their challenge. They tried something, maybe they tried something that didn't work, and then they tried again, and so on, and then they got a result. They got to a place that worked for them. They got the result that they were looking for. And if they got that result by working with you or by applying the solution that your business offers, that's a very powerful story to tell, and it's inspiring. People will hear that story and they'll be inspired because, first of all, they'll feel the same emotions and the same feeling as the character in the story, the person who met the challenge and actually overcame it. And we all know that when we hear stories like this is the kind of thing that we'll feel, we'll be drawn into that. And so this, you you have to bring something that matters to your audience. You have to be talking about something that's really important to them, and you want to tell a story about that. Tell the story. Tell something that happened and how it worked, why it worked, and what the result was, so that they can see themselves in that story. That's important. Critical number one, if you want to be inspiring, you don't need to be like Tony Robbins. You don't need to jump up and down and have exuberant energy and be, 6'7" or however tall he is. Like, you don't need to do that. You just need to come to your audience with something that really matters to them, make it really clear why it matters, and then tell a story of somebody who was facing that issue that you're bringing and met the challenge and overcame it. So, second challenge, and this applies specifically to video making, is that once you begin and you've made clear, like, here's this thing we're talking about and here's why it matters, you need to do something so that people will get to the end. You have to do something that will keep them interested enough to get to the end. So, for instance, one simple technique is something that I just did, which I just said, hey, I'm going to talk about these 3 things. And so now you know, like, we're on thing number 2. And if you're interested in the 3rd thing, you're going to have to stay tuned in order to get to that 3rd thing. And I could have made that even more compelling by saying, I'm going to tell you the 3 mistakes that people make. And the 3rd one is the biggest one that I see that you really want to avoid. So make sure you stay until I get to that 3rd one so that you really don't make this really bad mistake. And now you're going, okay, well, I want to know what that is. And, so priming your messaging with some kind of hook and some kind of prompt of what would be a reward for staying with you and tuning in until the end. And that's a really hard one to do well, but this is key to, going live, introducing your topic to the audience, and getting them, engaged from the point of view is like, oh, this is something that really matters. This is important. I need to pay attention. So now you've got their attention. And once you've got their attention, the second challenge is keeping it, keeping them from going away, keeping them from leaving, keeping them engaged enough to where they're going to tune in and stay with you. And the last thing I'm going to mention is that you now want to make this deeper connection so that now when people are engaging with you, they're feeling like they're part of what you're doing. And this is where live video can work really well. So if you have any kind of back and forth, if you have any call and response, if you have any kind of engagement where people are saying things to you and you're asking questions and they're responding and you're exploring this topic together. So if you told a story about something that happened to somebody and how they overcame it, you could be asking people, has this ever happened to you? Or like in this case, I can say, do you find that if you ever make a video, first I could just say, hey, are you currently going live? And if you're going live, just say, I go live. And if you have never done it, just say, I haven't done it yet, but I want to do it soon. So that would be information for me to know more about who I'm talking to and what I can inspire you to do. So the people who've never gone live, I want to help you get over the hurdle that maybe is keeping you from going live. And the people who are going live already, the people already doing videos, then you may be facing different hurdles, which is other things like, how do you get people to join you when you're live? How do you get the people who join you live to engage with you and to stay with you on the video? So this kind of conversation can happen during your live stream and actually in real time as people are talking to you, and even during the replay. So for instance, if you happen to be watching this at this moment during the replay, I want to know from you, have you ever gone live before? And if you have, say, yes, I go live. And if you go live, tell me how often. Do you do it once a week? Do you do it twice a week? Do you do it consistently? Or do you do it randomly? And just go ahead and make a comment and tell me that information. That's just super helpful, and it can help me steer my content so that it will matter more to you in the future. And these are the kinds of things, kinds of prompting that you want to do when you're talking with your audience. You want to be doing this continual thing so that they feel connected to you and they're feeling like you care about them and you can respond to them. Like I can respond to people in the future so that they're feeling like, oh my gosh, he's answering my question, or he's made a whole video based on what we talked about. So I'm being responsive, showing that I care, showing that I'm actually helping you and inspiring you, in this case, to show up, to be the greatest show person that you can be for your audience, to serve folks using this medium so that you will get 100 people watching and 100 people excited and inspired so much that they'll start talking about you and your business and your work and the thing that you do and the thing that they believe in and the thing that they're excited about, and start talking about that with their friends so that their friends start coming in and their friends start seeing you and getting connected with you and they bring their friends, and this grows quite naturally if you're doing this on a regular basis and you're connecting with people in this way. Let me just check and see comments here. Joseph says, I'm not done live yet, but I'm working on doing our Foodaholic show live. Awesome. I love it. The Foodaholic. That sounds great. Paul Simon Mike says, I go live. Great points again. Thanks. Cool. Awesome. I know you go live, and I'm looking forward to your next lives and the Grit Entrepreneurial Grit Show. So we're down to near the bottom of my notes. Think of that. So the last question that I have, and this is what I'm going to leave you with. This is the sort of inspiring question I'm going to ask you that you can take away and try and see what you can do with. And the question is, what's going to be different for the audience after they watch your video? This is the thing. So if you're going to be inspiring, this is the question that you need to ask yourself. I'm going to make a video, and if I make this video, what's going to be different for the people who watch after they finish? What's going to be different? Like, they can't be the same. Like, if they come and watch the video and they watch it all the way through, if you actually get them to do that, you want a difference. You want to make a difference. You want something to be different about their thinking, their feeling, their emotional content. Something needs to be different. Some change needs to happen. They need to be inspired by something. So in this video, one of the things that I did early on was I made a point of shifting your perspective around how marketing has been done in the past. The traditional way of building a funnel, where you basically put all your time and energy, most of it, into talking to strangers and convincing them to start following you. And this is what most people are teaching. It's what most digital marketers are doing. And I'm basically saying that way of doing stuff is broken. It's not working very well right now, especially for the people who are mostly like us, the small business entrepreneurs who are solopreneurs. That's not working. And there's this other method. There's this method that actually I do, and the method that I teach when I'm working with my clients, which is to reach out to your inner group, the people who you already have in your network, whether they're on your email list or your Facebook followers or your Instagram people or whatever platform you're on. And you talk to them and you inspire them. You inspire them with your message. You inspire them with the movement that you're on. You inspire them with the direction that you want to take them in. And when they get engaged with you, and do all this thing with you and get all excited with this whole thing that you're creating along with them, you get them as co-creators in your brand. And you use live video because live video is probably the best tool, especially right now, during this time where we all have to work from home, we can't go out, we can't speak, we can't go to a networking event, we can't do a conference, you can't go to a trade show. None of that is possible. So if you want to do this now, you don't need to go to a big conference and speak to 5,000 people. You can just go live and speak to 100 people and move them. Do something in the video to where something different happens. and they will be moved by you. And this is completely possible. It's completely doable. And this is my challenge for you. Like, make a video, and in that video, answer the question, what's going to be different? Like, make something different happen for the audience during the time that they're watching that video. See if you can make that result happen. And if you would like help with any of this, I'm available. You can reach out to me. Just go ahead and put in a comment down below. Let's talk. And anyone can schedule basically a video breakthrough strategy session where, if you're interested in going further, Joseph, if you want to go further with your whole, what was it called? I'm just looking at the comments here. Where did it go? The food-aholic thing. If you want to go further with that show and turn that into sort of a major brand building effort for your business, then I'd love to talk with you about that and how you can sort of piece that together and what are the strategies that you want to do. That would be a really cool thing to do, a really cool conversation. In fact, if we meet and we talk about it, we might find that would be such a great conversation to have that we could go live together. And you could talk about your ambition on a live stream like this, and we could have you as a guest, as a face the camera guest on a future live stream. So if you're interested, make your comment down below, and I will respond accordingly. So I'm just looking at the time. We are now well past the 30 minutes that I usually go live. So that's all I have for you today. Every Tuesday, every Thursday, look forward to another episode of Face the Camera, where I'm taking you on this journey so that you can build your brand and build your connection with your audience on video, on live video, just like this. So tune in next time. Thanks for joining, and I will see you in the next video.